Should I keep my swap file on an SSD drive? I'm considering getting an SSD drive to run as the primary OS partition. As I understand, this should provide a substantial improvement in performance. My question is this: should I leave the swap file on that drive? The swap partition will be largely random seeks and so should benefit from the speed. On the other hand, it will be constantly written to, which will wear out the drive faster.
If possible, you might want to use a secondary platter hard drive as the location for virtual memory. If you don't have one, it's still recommended to have a page file, but you might want to disable it for extra disk space. It's all up to you whether to decrease memory load or more disk space is important.
From MSDN blogs and GT, Engineering Windows 7 and GT, Support and Q and AMP, A for solid-state drives. Should the page file be placed on SSDs? Yes. Most page file operations are small random reads or larger sequential writes, both of which are types of operations that SSDs handle well. In looking at telemetry data from thousands of traces and focusing on page file reads and writes, we find that pagefile.sys reads outnumber pagefile.sys writes by about 40 to 1. Pagefile.sys read sizes are typically quite small, with 67% less than or equal to 4 kilobits, and 88% less than 16 kilobits. Pagefile.sys writes are relatively large, with 62% greater than or equal to 128 kilobits and 45% being exactly 1 MB in size. In fact, given typical page file reference patterns and the favorable performance characteristics SSDs have on those patterns, there are few files better than the page file to place on an SSD.
Here is some SMART data from an Ox Agility SSD that I have used in a Linux laptop for around 2 years. I have a swap partition on the disk, and the only tweak I've made is to set swapiness equals 0 in Linux. The Windows swap profile is more or less like Linux swapiness equals 0. It's my personal laptop, so it's not used 8 hours a day, more like 1.5 hours, but I do quite a lot of development on it, so there is a lot of file creation going on. The interesting parts are power _on _hours, I spend too much time in front of a computer. Max _pay _count spec is 10,000, which is the minimum number of reflashes a block can cope with. Minute, max and average arrays count tells a little bit about the robustness of the wear leveling algorithm. I suppose it's quite okay that the worst block has been flashed about 2 times more often than average. The remaining lifetime percentage, which is 92%. So, I think it's safe to assume that the disk should last until I retire it for other reasons. Touch wood, it's already too small. Assuming the numbers scale, 40-hour/week would give a lifetime of at least 3 to 4 years, probably more, since I suspect I am more efficient at wearing out my disk at home. Fewer meetings. So, I think it's quite okay for a work machine, given the benefits. So, my advice is, get rid of the noisy mechanical drives and enjoy the silent smile. It's awesome with an absolutely quiet laptop. I retired the drive some time ago, after more than 5 years in service. I needed a bigger drive, and it was also nice to get a faster one. Some blocks have definitely died, but it looks like it could hold together a few more years. By the way, it certainly survived the laptop it was originally installed in.
I have a better answer. Why, when you can just buy more RAM? RAM is as cheap or cheaper than SSD space. It's also much faster, and it will never, well, almost never, degrade like SSD drives do. Swapping memory to disk is a symptom of not enough RAM. If you need to speed up swapping, don't speed up the swap disk, upgrade your RAM and the swapping will go away. Swapping should be considered a last resort backup plan anyway.
If you want to support the channel, please consider subscribing.